It started with the vision of sanctuary. It swiftly became a project of passion. Welcome to my Hobbit home in a van build, part 1. For years, I was sidelined by a condition called cerebral vasculitis. My world felt small, and there was this constant nagging voice telling me I couldn't chase my ambitions. But after receiving some incredibly positive news this year, that voice finally went quiet. I didn't just want a project. I wanted to build a sanctuary, a place that was entirely mine. Converting this Movano into a Hobbit home isn't just about travel. It's about proving to myself that I'm back in the driving seat of my own life. I still remember the night my parents rented the Fellowship of the Ring. I had no idea what I was walking into, but I was obsessed instantly. As I got older, that obsession turned into a real appreciation for Tolkien's literature. When I started planning this build, I saw other Hobbit-themed vans online, but they never felt quite right. They were just cabins in vans. I wanted to create something different. I wanted to build what I imagined a real Hobbit home on wheels would look like. And this is my attempt to bring a piece of Middle-earth into the Movano. To build a sanctuary, you have to start with a blank slate. My first task was stripping the van back to metal. The floor, thankfully, was the easiest part. Most of it was just held down by a few loose, rusty screws and some aged silicone. The walls took a bit more patience. I had to carefully back out the old screws and clear the stray cables poking through the panels. It wasn't exactly high intensity work, but seeing those walls come down felt like the first real step, turning this work van into something completely new. With the panels down, it was time for a sweep up. Learn from my mistake and wear a mask if you're doing this. I gave the floor one last sweep the next day before scrubbing it down, and I'll be honest, this was a horrible job. Plus, with all the old rusty screws and sharp metal shards sticking up, I ended up nicking my hands about 6 times. It was enough to sting and force me to take a break before I could finish. With the floor finally clean, I moved on to a job I probably should have tackled before the deep scrub. It was time to grind down those stubborn, protruding screws and wire brush away the rust and loose paint. It's easy to get lost in the grinding and the dust. It's not exactly the glamorous side of building a home, but I'm realising every bit of rust I brush away and every screw I grind down is one step closer to the cosy space I've been dreaming of. If you're enjoying following along with this build, and you want to see exactly how this old van turns into a Hobbit-inspired home, make sure to subscribe. It helps me out a ton and keeps you in the loop for the full build series. Now let's get this rust treated. I gave the floor a quick hoover and did one last pass with a 50-50 mix of isopropyl alcohol and water to grab any stubborn dust, the broom mist. And I started applying the ZEP converter to all those major rust spots. This isn't just paint, it's a chemical process that hardens the rust to turn it into a stable, protective layer, so I can start the build with total peace of mind. I wasn't taking any chances, so I finished the floor off with 2 full coats of Wadditi's 2-in-1 rust converter and primer from Amazon. It's an extra layer of protection, but it's worth it. I need this floor to be a solid, stable foundation for the Hobbit home I'm building, and this ensures it stays that way for years to come. With the rust converter dry, it was time to tackle the bulkhead. I brought in my dad and brother to help out here. We initially thought it would just be a simple case of undoing some bolts, but after closer inspection we realised it also was held in place by rivets. Once we finished undoing the bolts, we drew out the remaining rivets, and then finally it fell out. With the floor protected, I did one last wipe down with my isopropyl alcohol mix. Next it was time for the 2-in-1 soundproofing and insulation. I chose Nomad because, in a van, every millimetre counts, and only 5mm thick, it gives me the maximum possible headroom, while still providing solid insulation, soundproofing, and a reliable vapour barrier. floor sealed, I started on the subfloor. My brother helped me with the first few cuts, but then I decided to pause and get the wheel arches properly sounded and insulated first.
This is going to need recutting now. Yay. Yeah, get out of the way of the shot.
Once that was sorted and my brother decided to head off, my dad stepped in to help me finish the remaining cuts.
Ow.
Next, I ran aluminium tape along the edges of the van to seal the gaps, ensuring I have a continuous vapour barrier connecting the floor to the walls. And then we applied the adhesive and weighed everything down to cure for a full 24 hours. For the adhesive, we went with the Evo stick. It sticks like shit. It's solvent free, water resistant and flexible, which makes it the perfect choice for the job. And here it is, the progress so far. I'll show a quick before and after on the screen so you can see how much we've managed to achieve in just 2 weeks. As you can see, the subfloor is rock solid. There's a bit of unevenness. I'll sand it down before laying the final floor. Now, let's talk cost. So, let's talk numbers. I tried my best to keep close track of the spend at this stage of the build so far, so you get a clear idea of the investment involved in getting the foundations right. We've got the Nomad insulation. I've got 2 rolls of that for £120. For the moisture control, I used aluminium tape, £20 for 2 rolls. Subfloor, I used 11mm plyboard. That cost me £55 for 3 boards. I still got board left over, so you only really needed 2 for the floor. Adhesive, I used the Evo stick adhesive, got 4 tubes of that. That cost me £30. The paint and converter, so the 2-in-1 and the ZEP, that cost me £80. And that comes to something like £285. And then the van itself cost me £1,300, so we're at £1,585. Build is really gaining momentum now, and the project is moving fast. So here's what's next on the list. We're going to be installing the side windows, cutting out rust, and then repairing it with fiberglass, installing the roof vents, finishing the wall insulation, setting up the off-grid electrical system and solar panels. And then once the shell is fully prepped, the real fun begins with the interior furniture fit out, making it look more like a Hobbit home. You don't want to miss an episode, so make sure to stay tuned. I'll see you in the next one.